What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day. And I hope your team won last week. My team, the Chargers, did not win. Sadly, it was a heartbreaking loss per the usual week. But yeah, thank God we're not talking about the Chargers right now. We're going to be talking about Tua. That's going to be our first topic of the day. But before we do that, if you are not following the Instagram or the TikTok, go follow those at Dorm Debate Podcast. So let's get right into Tua's second start of the season versus the high octane offense of the Cardinals. And the Dolphins came out with a win, 34-31. Tua had 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. He went 20 for 28. Kyler Murray outplayed him slightly with 3 touchdowns, 283 yards, and 21 for 26 on the day. Now, the real story behind this one is obviously Tua's second start, his first start. We didn't really get a big enough sample size because the Dolphins defense just tore up the Rams the week before. So we finally got to see their defense come up against basically arguably the number one offense in the league. And you got to see more of Tua's passing and just how he controls the game without the defense kind of backing him up and carrying him to a victory. I want to start off by just posing this one question, and are you impressed by Tua's 2 wins? He's 2-0 right now. And if you think that he is one of the best rookie quarterback to come out of this draft. So he's competing with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. They have a bigger sample size. But I'll start with John. From what you've seen from Tua, is he in that range of Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow?
I mean, when you think about the wins, he is 2-0, so you kind of automatically put him there because he's won games and he hasn't necessarily played thrown for a lot of yards or anything. But I think he could start to be considered in that conversation. But like you said, it's a small sample size. We barely even saw him against the Rams. He didn't really even have to throw. But against the Chargers or against the Cardinals, he had 122 passer rating. So like this guy was pretty good and he didn't throw any interceptions. And I was pretty impressed. That offensive line played pretty well. And I saw him scramble a couple of times. He was juking a couple guys. So I was pretty impressed. He probably, was watching Kyler dance around people. So he wanted to try it himself. But like you said, it's a small sample size, but I don't really think we're going to learn too much about Tua this year. And here's why. The rest of the way, they get the Chargers, the Broncos, the Jets, the Bengals, Chiefs, Patriots, Raiders, Bills. The best defense on that schedule is the Chiefs, and they're not even that good. Like Patriots, I would say, but they haven't played well. Bills usually are good. They've played like absolute ass. And then, Chargers blow every lead. The Broncos are horrible. Jets are all these defenses are horrible. So he's really not going to have that hard of a time. But I see the reason that they put Tua in, and we talked about it a couple podcasts ago. And I like the idea because you got to see this guy play, and you can't wait for Fitzpatrick to just shit the bed. And, they wanted to see if they should draft a quarterback in the first round next year. They want to see what they have in Tua. They don't want to just keep waiting. So I like the decision, and I'm excited to see what he does, even though it's going to be a bet against bad defenses. So if we see him do well within the next few weeks or month, I wouldn't go crazy and say that he's, better than Herbert or Burrow. I still think Herbert and Burrow are going to have a better rest of the season, but just take it with a grain of salt because of the defenses he's playing.
Yeah, I think Tua has been playing pretty well. I was skeptical of the coaches putting him in over Fitzpatrick, even though Fitzpatrick had, got the team to a good start. But so far, I've been impressed from what I've seen of Tua. But, let's not get it twisted. The Miami Dolphins, the team is not bad this year, so they give him a chance to be successful compared to, Herbert and the Chargers or Burrow and the Bengals. So, I would say so far, Tua has not caused his team to lose. He hasn't fumbled. He hasn't thrown much interceptions or anything. So, I mean, so far he's doing everything he needs to do. He's being a great game manager. So I think we should continue to look at the next few games and see how he does under pressure. Because right now his team is really good, and it's kind of like how he was in Alabama. He's not facing any turmoil. He doesn't have to come back from like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So let's see him in that scenario and assess whether he's compared to Burrow or Herbert, because they've definitely faced that scenario many times this season. But so far, Tua is good. And, just off of the game last week or this weekend, Jared, you said, Tua and Kyler were pretty similar in terms of stats, but I think Kyler outperformed Tua by a long shot. The Cardinals asked Kyler to do more. I mean, he's a second-year player, but he's really good. He has some great weapons, but he can use his feet when he needs to. Tua, I don't think he has to do as much right now. And rightfully so, he's a rookie, still learning. But compared to Kyler, I think Kyler outperformed him. It's just that their kicker missed the field goal, and the Miami Dolphins, the team is just really good. But so far I like what I'm seeing from Tua. So we'll see how these next few weeks go.
Yeah, I'd say watching Tua play, I think it's too early to call to say which is the best rookie right now, just because it's like Jared, you said, it's sample size is too small. Although I guess there is some, like, I didn't watch a lot of him in college. Like, I imagine next year after one game, if Trevor Lawrence is playing, like compared to all the quarterbacks, there's going to be a bias to say right away he's the best rookie. You have to give it some time. But that being said, it's been a while since we've been able to say that the Dolphins have a good team. It's been years. Even last year, I think they went 5-11, and I brought this up when we were talking about, I think, the midseason world with the head coaches. And I mentioned how Brian Flores has been able to turn this team around with the Dolphins, going from one of the biggest turnarounds from the bottom of the division to now competing for the top. I give a lot of credit, at least right now, to the head coach, because they won with Fitzpatrick and now they're winning with Tua. So, and we mentioned this in the Fitzpatrick episode, but they put a lot of risk in Tua. When they chose him to start over Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was playing really well. There's the narrative that Fitzpatrick kind of starts strong, goes down. I don't know. Remains to be seen if it's that a real thing. But the coaches basically said, we believe Tua is ready. This is what we brought him in for. This is why Ryan Fitzpatrick was in this position, and we judged it as kind of iffy because he was going up against the Rams the next week with Aaron Donald. But then looking back, they won that game, and they won against the Cardinals that had beaten the undefeated Seattle team. So I think from what the most you can ask for a rookie quarterback, if you're not running for the Super Bowl, is to show good signs, to not make too many mistakes, like Jonathan, you said, and he's doing that. So maybe by 2 games or 3 games, I'd be willing to compare him to the larger portfolio of Herbert or Burrow, because I think between the Chargers and Dolphins, they probably have a better team overall right now. I think the Bengals suffer from having a bad team, as well as Burrow being young. But if we're gonna judge, if I right now had to say, I think it's too early to call on Tua. I like Herbert right now the most. A lot of these quarterbacks come into stride their sophomore season, and so right now Herbert, I think, is maybe lost. They're pretty comparable to Burrow, like we talked about in previous podcasts. He just has competed consistently well against good teams, which is why I'd give the edge right now to Herbert. But that can change because these are young quarterbacks. I've mentioned before how sometimes I think the league is getting a little too eager and throwing these young guys in. If they don't perform right away, they have this tag of overhyped or under delivering. So I think give Tua time, give the other guys time. I think, like John, you said, the schedule they're facing is not that difficult. So if they're the real thing, if this coaching and quarterback duo and as well as the defense, pretty solid there, is going to hold, then it'll be proven against some of these teams, especially the Broncos, Jets, maybe the Bengals. Chiefs will be interesting by that week because, later in the season, see how much these teams are starting to maybe conserve players. I think week 14 for the Chiefs is a little early, but you might start to see that. And I think the Dolphins to outwin the Bills, I don't see them getting the top of the division, but with that schedule, they could probably easily get one of the 2 wildcard spots. One of the extra wildcard spots. So I'd say right now give Tua some time, but I think the Dolphins are probably making the playoffs this year if they're that consistent.
Yeah, I want to take that view because if we're talking about the rest of the season for the Dolphins, they could meet the Chiefs at 9-3, right? And if Caleb, like if they rest Mahomes maybe in the second half, then they
Maybe.
definitely have a chance to beat the Chiefs. And now you're looking at a 3-loss season for the Dolphins of all teams, which would
Yeah.
mean, crazy as it sounds, that Tua would be undefeated, possibly going into the playoffs, which is, I don't think any rookie quarterback has ever done. That would be insane. But to talk about Tua in general, I watched this game very closely because I do like the Arizona Cardinals. I love watching Kyler, and it frustrated me because something I didn't know about Tua, and we'll see if this continues to be consistent, is his escapability from the pocket. When it started collapsing, he disappeared and then he just appeared and started running to the first down. And that happened like 3 or 4 times when, I thought they had the sack and he is able to escape and get the first down. That impressed me a lot. And these last 2 games, his what do you call it? Turnovers. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's very efficient and makes great decisions during the game. And I like that about Tua. I knew that when he came into the league that he had deep ball accuracy and just overall just an accurate thrower. But the way he was running around in the pocket and also being able to run for first downs, I think that's huge. And if he can add that to his game and make sure he runs smart and is able to slide and not take the hits, I think Dolphins fans are going to be impressed with Tua going forward in the season because it's his second start and he's playing efficient and not turn the ball over. That's like elite quarterback, stats. If you look at Russell Wilson, he's beginning of the season, he had 1 interception in the first like 6 games. So that's the mark of an elite quarterback. So I'm excited to see what Tua has going forward. And then if you go macro, the Dolphins are just playing great on both sides of the ball. This defense killed the Rams and it held Arizona to 31 points, which doesn't sound like, a big feat. But at that last drive for the Cardinals, they had enough time to go and get a touchdown and take the lead, and they held them to a field goal and ended up missing the field goal. So you got to give credit to the Dolphins defense for, I wouldn't say carrying Tua, but helping Tua to get his 2 wins. I mean, he's done his job. So I really want to see him when the defense is down and out and they're basically hoping for him to, score touchdowns, run that offense well, run a 2-minute offense. I want to see him in clutch moments. And it's crazy, but I don't even know if we'll see that this season, considering if the Chiefs rest players. He's not really going to have a good offense to
Oh,
go up
the
against.
Chiefs aren't going to rest that early. That's like week 13 they play him or something.
It's possible they're 13. I was gonna add to this that it's
What week
possible they're 13-1 at that point.
What
It
week
would
is that?
depend. It's week 14. I was looking into it. Well,
There's still 4 more games after that.
well, I would
So
look. I'd look at the Raiders at that point, and maybe if you want to clinch like home field, then you're looking at like Steelers and stuff. But if you're starting to get into that point of the season where you're watching other teams to see,
it
it's
really
possible.
depends.
13-1, you could,
The Chiefs are obviously going to be able to score points on the Dolphins because they could score points on everyone. So I'm looking for that game where Tua is going to have to throw. So I'm going to see when he drop back 35 times, 40 times.
It's probably early for resting, but the Chiefs are up against 3 games against the Raiders in their division. So if they want to, it just depends on how many wins, how the other teams do in the AFC. But not impossible at week 14, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hope they don't, so that we can actually get a real game out of Tua.
Challenge.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to like discredit Tua's abilities because it's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, if you look at Herbert and you look at Burrow, he's already tied the wins for them. So you got to give
True.
credit to Tua for pulling out victories against a really good Cardinals team and a really good Rams team. Like
Yeah.
they were both 5-2, I believe. I think the Rams were 5-2 when they beat them, or 5-1 or something. So those are two really good teams that Tua was able to will this team and beat. So I'm not discrediting them at all, but it's the defense. You gotta see him against a top 5, top 10 defense. See how he reacts when maybe he does throw that first pick in like the first quarter. How does he react? How does he respond to those adversities? But I'm excited to see what's to come for Tua. Another game that had two great quarterbacks were the Seahawks versus Bills, and a big surprise for most people. The Buffalo Bills ended up coming out with a win, 44-34. Russell Wilson had 390 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, while Allen went off. If you had him in fantasy, John, I know you had him in fantasy. He went off 416 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, the story of this game was the turnovers for the Seahawks. 4 total turnovers, 2 fumbles lost, and 2 interceptions. That's not normal to see out of this Seahawks team. And the one big, underlying story for the Seahawks has been their defense. It is just terrible. They let up 420 yards and 44 points. I mean, you just can't do that in the NFL and expect to win games. John, is the Seahawks defense going to cost Russell Wilson an MVP? And also, could it cost them the division?
So, okay, there's a lot of things to unravel here. I don't think it can cost them the MVP. I think it will cost them a chance at the Super Bowl. They're not going to get to the Super Bowl. They're not even going to get to the NFC Championship game. This defense is so bad, it's not even funny. But the story coming into the game was Russell's, 3 interceptions the previous game against the Cardinals. And then we saw the Bills defense, turn him over 4 times. And I think an interesting take here is the biggest reason that the Seahawks defense is struggling is because Chris Carson got injured. What's like one of the biggest things you could do for a defense is give the offense a running game, because it keeps the defense off the field. Russell Wilson can put up 34 points, but it comes in bunches and it comes in bigger plays. You're not running the clock out. You're having incomplete passes, then you're having a 20-yard play to DK, and then you're having an incomplete pass, and then you're having a 30-yard play to Lockett. And it's like, okay, now only 20 seconds came off the clock. You score 7 points, and now your defense has got to come back out there. And they're just beat. Like adding Jamal Adams, you give up 44 points, like the most all season. How could you add your best player, one of the best safeties in the league, and still give up 44 points? I mean, they need to get a run game going. I mean, Chris Carson needs to come back. That's the biggest thing for this team. And as far as the MVP race, we'll talk about that after this. But, I think this defense is just embarrassing, like I said before, and Chris Carson needs to come back. That'll help everybody on the team, including Russell Wilson's MVP chances.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are in trouble. I agree with John in a sense that they're not going to make the NFC Championship. Look, the Cowboys the past couple of years have always had, great offenses, but our defense hasn't been the greatest. I mean, this year it's just awful, but we've had bad defenses in the past. And so that's a storyline. You're going to be good enough to go to like the divisional round, but you're not good enough to make it to the NFC Championship because you need a solid defense to be able to make it to that game. And yeah, I mean, their division, NFC West, it's in jeopardy right now because they're going to meet Kyler Murray again.
Oh, no. Don't tell me the Cardinals are going to win that division.
Oh, they have to find a way to stop Kyler Murray or else they're going to get toasted again.
I've been saying it since day one.
Kyler's not that hard to stop. The Lions kept him.
He hasn't been able to be stopped except for what? The Lions stopped him.
How did the Lions?
That was his fault, though. It wasn't the Lions playing good defense.
How did the Lions stop him, though? Like, what the heck? How do you?
It's bad day.
The time change going from Pacific Standard to Eastern Standard.
Oh, right.
Okay. Jet lag.
Yeah.
So wait, that's good. That's good because that means the Cardinals are playing the Bills this weekend. So that means Bills are going to win. because Cardinals
Yeah.
have to go over
There's
there.
an
Well, the thing about the Bills are not consistent. Yes,
Dude,
Josh
what-
Allen
yeah,
had a
why
really
do you-
great game.
Why do you
He had a
why do
really
you
great
keep
game.
why do you keep discounting the Bills? You got to believe in them. It's
Because they're
it's
not-
come to a
Jonathan does
point.
not like the
It's
Bills.
come to a point
'Cause-
where you need to accept that Josh Allen is a really good quarterback, and this Bills offense is really good. It's not
Like them
about
some of
their
that
defense
cereal.
anymore. And I
The
know the
Josh's
fact that
stacks.
Josh's
Diggs,
stacks.
came and made them really good. But like Allen's throwing it all over the field. Everybody's getting targets and yards. They don't even have to run it. And he could rush. Like he's a dual threat.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're not consistent as a team. Yes, they played really great against the Seahawks, but we all know their defense really sucks. They have some really great games, but other games they don't play well. They've lost like the past few games. They lost a couple games, and it was against what team was it? I was against a crappy team or
I
something.
mean, they almost
Look,
lost to the Patriots. They probably should have lost to the Patriots.
Exactly. They've struggled. So even though I'm impressed, with that win, I mean, a little bit, given that they scored 44 points. I mean, that is a lot of points in the NFL. I'm still not buying the hype. And Josh Allen, take Stephon Diggs off that team, and you're going to see an average Joe. I mean, to me, he's really average right now.
Average.
But take Stephon Diggs
but that's almost for
out of there.
almost every team. Like if you take DeAndre Hopkins, like Kyler wasn't nearly as good last year.
Yeah, he wasn't as good. I mean, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins adds another thing that defense has to think about. I still think Kyler would have been decent because he likes to target Kirk a lot, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
And he still has Larry Fitzgerald, so he would have been decent. But yeah, I mean, Hopkins definitely adds another weapon for him. But still, I think if there was no Stephon Diggs, though, I mean, I think Caleb said Stephon Diggs has the highest fantasy points as a receiver right now or something. I don't know if
he's number one in fantasy points,
number one.
above
Okay,
DK
exactly.
Metcalf.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's a great weapon for him, and I'm glad he's playing well. But I don't think he's a true MVP when you're talking about MVP because he's not consistent. Number one, consistency is the mark of a champion. He's not going to be a champion. And I know we may talk about this later, but that division, anybody can win that division.
No,
I'm still not sold on the Bills winning that division. So,
what? Wait. What did you just say? You just said that the Bills can. Who else can win that division?
Well, we're going to talk about it later. I'm sorry for jumping the gun, but the Dolphins, Dolphins can win that division.
No.
All right. We'll get to it in a second. Like,
Yeah, we'll
let me always the hatred for the Bills consistent from Jonathan. But I want to add, are the Seahawks in trouble defensively? I feel like, all right, I think I have flashbacks to Aaron Rodgers for so many years, not this year, but Rodgers is a lot like Wilson in that they're legendary, one of the most talented quarterbacks in each respectively that I've ever seen. But sometimes the team doesn't allow them enough. The team, it's a two sides of the ball, defense and offense. So for years, I watched Rodgers be great, but then his defense kind of let him down, which was what people were saying. And I feel like the Seahawks cannot, like John, you said, I don't think they can win big games without a better defense, without patching up some of these holes. Now they got to get a run game. They have added Jamal Adams things, but a lot of the past 2 weeks, it's hard to say because Wilson has thrown, I think, 3 picks in each game. So I don't know. Obviously, we all know Wilson's proven it. Like he's the guy. He's great. But are those 2 picks from him just playing bad for 2 weeks in a row, or is it because the defense is doing that well, or these teams are reading him better that he has to force these more risky passes to be able to lift the team out of whatever hole they're in or whatever? You sometimes quarterback have to gun it deeper and take a little more risk. So the 6 interceptions, you're talking about consistency. I feel like, are the Seahawks in trouble defensively? Yeah. If this is a Russell Wilson problem, they're in bigger trouble because the Dolphins have an easier schedule and they're firing on all cylinders. So it's hard for me to say that Seattle won't top the division, but if those problems remain, I don't see them going far into the playoffs as good as Wilson can be. That being said, I feel like we got to give a little credit to the Bills. I know Stephon Diggs is the number 1 receiver in the league right now in terms of fantasy points because we have a lot of fantasy fans. But number 2 in terms of fantasy points below Kyler Murray is Josh Allen. And so we've mentioned a few times how if it weren't for Russell Wilson existing or the consistency issues, he could be in the MVP race. So we're still a lot of football to be played left. So right now I think Mahomes is topping it. But we can see, depending on how these quarterbacks get these interceptions, get touchdowns, we're gonna see. But I think we got to give a little credit to the Bills. They've had an easier schedule. I mean, they beat the Raiders and the Rams, which were tougher teams. But then their schedule, they played the Jets twice. New England's not that strong. They were close with the Chiefs, but they ended up losing that, and probably because of some of Allen's mistakes. So you're right. Some of those consistency issues are real. So if they're able to be consistent in the playoffs, then I think they can go deep. The Bills can, but that we'll see as we start to get towards the later end of the season, starting to see how these playoff brackets go. But I think the Seahawks got to fix these defensive troubles to give Wilson a chance to really carry them deep.
Mm-hmm. I think this defense is going to cost the Seahawks the division. Will it cause them the playoffs? I don't know. Teams play different in the playoffs. So, the defense could be bad in regular season, but in the playoffs, they kind of spike it up a little bit. But it will cost them the division. The Cardinals will end up winning the division at the end of the day.
No.
It's simply the facts. I mean, you're asking Russell Wilson and that offense to be perfect. If that offense is perfect, they win the game. And Russell Wilson has been, but when you look at their two losses, the Bills and the Cardinals, 4 turnovers for that offense against the Bills and 3 turnovers against Arizona. That is the main problem right now, is that offense has no room for error. You have to play perfect and you win the game. But 1 or 2 mistakes, just 1 or 2, would cost them the game because that defense can't stop anything. It can't stop the Bills, can't stop Cardinals, can't stop anybody right now. I mean, they're dead last in defense. The one silver lining with the Seahawks is they have 14 turnovers forced for that defense, which is 3rd. But it's not really helping them that much, as you can see. So they really have to fix that ASAP for them to win the division, 1, and to make a run in the playoffs. They have to figure that out. The Bills, I don't know yet. I'll be 100% honest. I don't know what to think of the Bills. I like Josh Allen. I am a Josh Allen fan, but the overall team, as Jonathan said, they are so inconsistent. I mean, I thought they were gonna absolutely murder the Patriots, and it came down to a fumble by Cam Newton. So they should have lost. So and then they come out against the Seahawks and put up 44 and had no turnovers and played a great game. I don't know. I need to see more from them. I need to see Josh Allen. Well, you know what? Josh Allen, I think, is fine. I'm going to say that on record that I believe in Josh Allen. I think he's a great quarterback. But the overall Bills team is in jeopardy because the Dolphins are hot. They are the talk of the town right now. And they are firing on all cylinders with defense.
Yeah, but if you go back, you said that the Bills, it came down to Cam Newton fumbling, so they should have lost. While the Dolphins, it came back down to the Cardinals kicker missing, so they should have lost too.
The thing with
you
that
could go
game,
by the same logic.
Well, the thing with that game is that would have forced overtime, but it wouldn't even gone to overtime yet because they had so much time that if they really needed to get down and get a field goal and win it, they probably could have because the Cardinals couldn't stop them. They really couldn't stop that defense. I mean, when Tua would have 3rd downs, he would, sit in the pocket and that pocket would start collapsing. You're like, oh, it's going to be 4th down, long 4th down. And he would somehow escape and run for that 1st down. So he kept drives alive, and that's what won him the game. But if you say the kicker made that field goal, that's just a tie game. But Cam, if he just needs it.
But if Cam, like, they were winning by 3, so they could have kicked the field goal and tied the game.
Weren't they at like the 2-yard line though? Like
no,
10
they
or
were at
something?
the 20.
I think they had time left to like go for a touchdown, but regardless,
Yeah,
they could have.
The Dolphins couldn't be stopped offensively. But yeah, as far as the Bills, you got your quarterback, but you have a really hot team right behind you. I mean, inches behind you. So they cannot afford to make any mistakes. This Dolphins team has a really easy schedule. Does anyone have the Bills schedule pulled up?
Yeah, I got it. I was about to mention that
Yeah.
like if I don't know what you guys' opinions are of the Bills, but I'd have to say I think the Bills are the better team, but the Dolphins are hot and they have an easier schedule. The Bills next week, 15th, they're playing Arizona, then they got Los Angeles, then San Francisco,
Los
Pittsburgh.
Angeles who?
Sorry,
Chargers.
Chargers.
Oh, okay. I lost.
I forget. And then Denver, New England, and then Miami. So mixed bag, but they definitely have some more higher peaks in terms of challenge than the Dolphins. So I think the Bills are
So
the better
they play
team, but
Miami last.
they do.
Yeah.
So that could be an important
That
game.
could be played for the division.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I mean, they
'cause-
already
yeah.
played in week 2 and the Bills won 31-28.
Yeah, but that was with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
they're probably better with Fitzpatrick. He was playing really well back then.
Bills are 4-0 in the division. Miami is 1-2. So if it came down to a tie, Bills have a little bit of breathing room. But it's only a 2-game difference in terms of wins. So I mean,
Right.
we'll have to see because injuries are a thing. You know, I hope everyone stays healthy, but there's a lot of more injuries this year. So we can't like we can only speak in points of time. Like right now, I think the Bills are the better team, not as consistent, but we'll see with that schedule. If they all stay healthy, Dolphins at least. That's why I said at least Dolphins are going to go for wild card. I think almost, all things considered equal and not injuries. I think they're probably get a wild card at least.
Mhm.
And if not, the Bills would probably get it if they're playing this well.
We got a whole half of the season to play. Anything could
Yep.
happen. Literally anything could possibly happen. And in this season, it probably will.
Any
So,
given Sunday
any
or
given
Monday,
Sunday.
Thursday.
Dude, I haven't heard that in so long. All right, so we're gonna go on to our next segment here. We did this segment about 2 or 3 months ago, and we're gonna bring it back. It's called True or False. It's pretty much self-explanatory. If you don't know, then I can't help you there.
The SAT.
Yeah.
We'll have to go over it next podcast.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read the first statement that I have. Joe Burrow and the Bengals will upset the Steelers this week. Now I want to go around, everyone answer, and then give your lengthy reasoning why. So John, Jonathan, Caleb, and then me, and then we'll start our reasons why. So Joe Burrow and the Bengals will upset the Steelers this week. True or false?
True.
Jonathan?
False.
False.
True.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay.
John.
I'm
right.
surprised. I thought I'd be the only one out here, but you're out here on the
Why I
ledge.
put it on there because I think it.
True. Well, you're out there on the ledge with me. Hopefully we don't get pushed off, but I think that Big Ben being put on the COVID list, he won't get practice time this week. He doesn't have COVID, but he was in contact with somebody who does. So he's going to have to get tested before he plays Sunday. If he doesn't play, I think that the Bengals have a better chance. But even if he does, he's not going to get practice time this week with his players. And the Bengals had a bye last week. So I think they're game planning. I mean, they're putting all their effort 2 weeks right into this game. And Joe Mixon is questionable. He seems unlikely to play, which would be a big downgrade for the Bengals offense, because then that means Burrow is going to have to drop back a lot more. But after what I saw with the Steelers against the Cowboys, the Steelers team is beatable. I mean, they play well every week. They haven't flopped any week, but this team is beatable, and it could come down to a last field goal. And if anybody can throw the football, Burrow can do it. And I think this is a game to watch this week, and I think that the Bengals could upset the Steelers and give them their first loss. All these undefeated teams in the past, it's usually one of those division foes that has your number and knows how to play you.
Yeah, so the Cowboys actually played a really good game against the Steelers.
Yeah.
So I think they should get a little bit more credit. The Steelers, they're a great team. They're a great team. And look, I don't think Burrow is going to be able to withstand the pressure from the D-line with Watt. I think the Steelers, the team in general, is really good, not just Big Ben. So even if Big Ben doesn't play, I think the receivers are good enough to help the backup quarterback out. and I think that the defense can just ball. The Cowboys last week, I mean, they had a few lucky plays that kind of made the game close in terms of that special teams play that got them in good position. So there are a few plays there that gave them a chance to win, the Cowboys. But like the Steelers, they're a really great team, and I think they could definitely lose this season. But the Bengals aren't going to be that team to stop them. I think the Steelers are just too good of a team to lose to the Bengals, not the Browns.
Well, you actually mentioned the Browns. You bring up a good point because I mean, you compare Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow. I'd say the Browns have a better defense than the Bengals right now, and the Steelers wallop them. The only caveat is you're right. If so here's the facts, right? So Tuesday morning, Roethlisberger got put on the reserve list because he was a high risk contact with his tight end, McDonald, I think, Vance McDonald, who tested positive for COVID. So technically, Roethlisberger hasn't tested, but he was in close contact, high risk. And so my point being is that according to this article on Sports Illustrated, he's still eligible to play if he comes back negative multiple times. And so if Roethlisberger plays, it's an easy yes for me that Steelers, like Joe Burrow's not gonna. It's false. Sorry, that Joe Burrow's not gonna beat this team with Roethlisberger, because I don't, Mason Rudolph, I don't really, have he's a backup. I don't have a lot of high hopes for him. I'm not saying he can't win with. If Rudolph is in there, I think he'll probably win because Jonathan, I agree with what you said. That team overall is so good. We talked about this last week, and that defense is one of the best defenses I've seen in a long time, especially with TJ Watt. And the Burrow gets a lot of hype, and I think it's worth it. But they're still developing him and that team. So I agree, the Steelers aren't unbeatable this season, but we're still going up against an overall Bengals team that's not pound for pound on both sides of the ball equal. Because they still got the running backs, and they got a whole variety of receivers. So if anything, Mason Rudolph just doesn't make mistakes. They can as long as the defense stays off the field enough. Because I'm Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I think he's going to know that if Ben is out, we're going to have to play this a little differently. But they still has all these other weapons except for the quarterback, who can they can adjust to that. And if anything, maybe having Rudolph in there lets you do things you couldn't with Roethlisberger, being a younger quarterback. And so for those reasons, it's that defense is too good. I mean, it'll be a statement if Burrow wins. I'm not saying it's impossible, because especially if Roethlisberger's out. If Roethlisberger's in, I kind of highly expect the Steelers to win. But if he's out, then I'm leaning Steelers. I still think they're going to win because of that defense and that overall team. But Burrow winning against that team, even without Roethlisberger, would still be a statement, because that is one of the best defenses in the league right now. So it would show that Burrow can, like you said, sometimes weird things happen in the NFL where a team that shouldn't beat a team ends up beating them, any given Sunday. And so I wouldn't put it past Burrow to be able to do that. But I'm leaning to the Steelers for this one. It's just too many factors against the Bengals.
This is nothing against the Steelers. I mean, even if they lose this, arguably the best team in the NFL. I have no stats on this game at all. This is just a feeling that I have
From the heart.
From the heart. I believe in Joe Burrow. I really do. And the Bengals probably won't make the playoffs. But Joe Burrow shines in those clutch playoff moments. And I think this is their one time to shine on the big stage to prove himself. Maybe the only time this season, because they won't make the playoffs, that he can prove that he belongs in this league and that he can beat these, behemoth of teams and be an undefeated Steelers team that everyone thinks is unbeatable, and they're on a roll and there's no way the Bengals could win. Joe Burrow just walks in and throws for 400 yards and, beats them in overtime on like a last second play, something like that. I don't think it's going to be a, blowout, but this Bengals team can do it, specifically this offense. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd specifically has been incredible. I think beginning of the season, we thought AJ Green would be the favorite. we all know that's not the case. He's been
Wait, who did you say? I don't hear.
Oh yeah, we
names.
don't say his name anymore. Sorry. He's not even in the NFL as far as we're concerned.
Oh yeah, I don't know where he
The
is.
disrespect.
But the way Tyler Boyd's been playing has been great, and I think that's rubbed off on T. Higgins. T. Higgins has been a really good wide receiver, really gone under the radar as far as rookies go. But this is just a feeling. Joe Burrow, he comes alive in these clutch moments, and we saw that last year in the college football playoffs. He played his best games in those semifinals and in that final game and in the SEC championship. So if there's any moment to shine, it's right now against the undefeated team when you don't have any playoff games, most likely. This is your time to prove yourself in your first season. And maybe to prove himself right. He is a pretty confident person, and he probably knows that he's good enough to be in this league, and he is up there with some of the greats in this season and in this NFL. He's going to try and prove himself right, and they're going to play out of their minds. I think when you're a 2-win team, these games are what fire you up. Even with the Giants, I know they have a division championship to look at, but they played really, really well against the Buccaneers of all teams. So any given Sunday, I like Caleb saying any given Sunday, but this Bengals offense cannot be overlooked. It is
And
one of the best.
And I'll quickly add, I know we've been talking about it for a while, but you bring up a good point when they're being 2-5 and probably not making the playoffs.
Mhm.
I've heard, and I think there's teams can do this, especially more. Tanking is not part of the culture as much in football as it is in probably basketball, best example, because the team is so big. If you think about it, there's so many jobs at stake when they have a terrible season. Like defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators want to show to other teams. Like you can go from a bad coaching job at a bad team to being a great coach and a better team. So there's too many stakeholders for tanking to be efficient compared to like a basketball team, which doesn't have that many management positions comparatively. But what I've heard, and bringing up your point that I'll give you credit for, is that teams that are that quote unquote bad, or teams' win-loss ratios are so bad, they're likely to have the mindset of like, if I'm going down, I'm going to bring someone else with me. Like the satisfaction from taking the undefeated status from a division rival, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a real thing in football. I mean, I've played football. It's like just even if you're not going to make it, just bring someone down with you. So I think Burrow could possibly, but I just wanted to mention that.
Mhm. All right. Our next true false statement. It is very near and dear to our hearts because we have basically the whole NFC East in this podcast. The Giants will win their division and make the playoffs. John.
False.
What? You're a Giants fan. All right, Jonathan.
False.
False.
True.
Oh, all right.
Oh my god.
Should I start or
All
what?
right.
Jeez.
The only
Yeah.
non-NFC fan.
I feel like we should put you in the middle somewhere so we're not all depressed by saying 3 bad things in a row. But no, the Giants aren't going to win the division. First of all, they have to beat the Eagles this week to have any chance. And even if they do, they're going to have to win some other games. They play the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the Ravens still the rest of the way. So I'm sorry. I just don't think Danny Dimes, we've had these close games and we just can't pull them out. We're 2-0 against the Washington football team and 0-8 or 0-7 against everybody else. So like we probably won't pull it out. And I don't have too much faith in this season, but it's a good learning opportunity. And I think Danny Dimes is getting better. Jason Garrett is doing a pretty good job calling plays. And when we get Saquon back, I mean, our defense is looking really good. So I'm excited for next season, but for now, it's the Eagles
You guys are a
division.
game out. I thought you would be in with me on this.
I'm sorry. I'm not in with this one.
You
I
want to
want to be
retract?
I want to be
Jared?
right.
I'm just shocked because I've been pleasantly surprised with how the Giants have been playing. And it's the same deal with the Chargers, and they're just there. They're probably the best 2-win team out there. I mean, the Giants are playing fantastic. Their main problem is turnovers. Daniel Jones can't freaking keep the ball on his side. But I'll give you one stat to just go home with and think about. This defense is legit. I don't know if anyone knows this. It is legit.
It
It's
is.
real. It's not like, oh, it's gonna be good. They're good right now. And the thing to look at right now is, let me pull up this stat because I need to find it. The Giants right now, their turnover margin is 0. They're even. They turn the ball over on offense, and their takeaways on defense are exactly the same. And if you look at the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Redskins, they're all in the negatives down at the bottom. Now let's think about why, because the Giants on offense turn the ball over a lot. This defense gets 15 turnovers total, and that's second in the league among Steelers, Buccaneers, Ravens, and those are all top teams in the NFL. My caveat with the Giants is they need to play more conservative with Daniel Jones. We saw, I forget which game it was. Was it? I don't think it was the Buccaneers. Maybe it was, but he was overthrowing deep balls. Now, I don't think he's going to get better at throwing deep balls within the season. So you got to start playing more conservative and start running the ball.
But you got to keep the defense honest, because if you don't take those shots, then they're.
I just don't want him to take them too often because it wastes downs. Like it was a 3rd and 5, and they're going deep. You don't need that. You have talented receivers. They should have been going to Golden Tate that whole game, and they went to him at the very last second. But Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard's finally back. Slayton is a big deep threat that they could go to every now and then. But Evan Engram is a great player to go to on 3rd down and short, and just play more conservative, because as you can see, if they keep the ball in their hands on offense and don't turn the ball over, their defense is going to give it right back to them. Like, it's just statistically, they're second in turnovers for that defense. They're bound to get turnovers. So even though, we really wanted a touchdown, but we got a field goal, that's okay, because that defense is legit. And we've seen how good defenses can help a 2-win team to maybe win the division. And when you're looking at the whole division, the NFC East, the Eagles, and Cowboys are one of the worst defenses, and the Washington football team. I
got to throw that in there.
I say that it's 2 race right now with Eagles and Giants. This game this week is important.
You're saying it's a 2-team race between the first place and the last place in the division?
Because look what just happened. Dallas lost their quarterback, and Washington just lost their quarterback. 2 teams gone. Giants have their quarterback, and Eagles have their quarterback.
It's true. In most real life, if this was in 2020, that's fair.
Now,
because it's technically a 1, yeah.
Right now, Carson Wentz and Daniel Jones both turn the ball over around the same amount. They're pretty bad when it comes to turnovers. But who's going to get the ball back? It's the Giants defense. It's going to be the savior of this team, and it will get them to win the division. I firmly believe that this Giants team is the best 2-win team in the NFL. Firmly believe that.
All right. No disrespect. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So, for you. But, bro, the Eagles, I think, have a better defense than the Giants. I think.
What?
Yeah.
Stats-wise?
Better, at minimum, better defensive line. All right, we're stronger at defensive. Yeah, I know I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm biased, but the Eagles have a better defense than the Giants.
What?
Yeah, and I think
what do you have to justify that, though?
Are you afraid I'm like have a spreadsheet up? No, I'm just saying I'm speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from the heart. Okay.
Wait, let's
We
well,
have
when we get
three
to
less
Jonathan.
losses. We have 3 less losses than the Giants. Okay, that's a real thing that happens.
How's that
in the defense.
possible,
You have a
though?
tie. Anybody who has a tie doesn't deserve
I
to be in
said
the
3 less
playoff.
losses. That tie is keeping us in front for a while.
You have one more win than us. If we beat you this week, we have the same
No,
amount of wins. So I don't want to
it's an
hear it.
important game. I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying. Yeah, I honestly don't underestimate anyone in this division when it's a 1-win lead. You know, I don't want to get too cocky, but I still believe in the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz, like watching Daniel Jones, I think he can be good, but watching Daniel Jones have flashes of brilliance, like I think he does. But he just did so many mistakes in these games where he could have won. I get him. They could have won against the Bucks. I think before the Bucks, we played them, and the Eagles ended up beating them. But it was a close game for a while there until he came back. But that's what I want to add is, okay, maybe we can differ on the defense, but I think the quarterback, Carson Wentz, is a better quarterback. Like I'm watching Daniel Jones, and he can develop. But right now, Daniel Jones flashes of brilliance, give him the credit. But Wentz, for all his mistakes this season, is still Carson Wentz.
Here's my
walk
thing,
it to
though.
him. What?
My thing. Sorry for cutting you off. My thing is
No, you're
just
good.
Wentz is playing at. He's like demoting
same-
himself to the level of Daniel Jones.
I think as the cavalry comes back, right? We're coming off our bye week with the Eagles. We're getting some health. We've had just so many injuries. I think at one point the 49ers have now beaten us for the most injuries, but we had the most for a while there. So I've mentioned this. I don't know if how much of it was Carson, how much of it was having it's how we got to know the name of Fulgham. Like he got signed off the practice squad or was one of the lower strength, and he's great. But we didn't have any of our starters. We were missing out of 11 of our starters from the beginning of the season. At one point, it was just Carson Wentz and Ertz, and then Ertz got injured. So Carson Wentz had been, oddly enough, the only healthy person on that starting offense. So my point is, I think we have the better defense. Giants have a very good defense. If they had Saquon Barkley, I'd be much more different in my assessment because that opens up Daniel Jones's options. Maybe you don't have to keep him honest with the deep throw that he does need to work on a little bit, but the run game just tires out defenses. But they don't really have that. Shepard and they have receivers that are good. They gave us a run for money. We'll see this week because it's an important game. But Carson Wentz, I mean, I know I'm biased, but he's clutch. Like games that we've had to win in seasons past, like last year, I bring up the Dallas game. Or Dallas was very strong. We had injuries, and we won the game that we needed to get to the playoffs. The year that we went to the Super Bowl, before he handed it off to Foles, like we were I don't know how many wins exactly, but we were winning games that we shouldn't have won. And Carson Wentz, I think, as bad as he is playing, he has a winning mentality. Like we got close with the Steelers, close with the Ravens when it really shouldn't have been that close because of him willing our team. So I think Wentz has the ability to turn the tide of a game more than Daniel Jones. So I got to give it to. I'm biased, but I'm giving it to the Eagles. Sorry.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the Eagles will take this division. The Giants have been playing well, but I agree with Caleb. Daniel Jones can't do it by himself for the rest of the season. They can't just, pass all the time and be successful for the rest of the season. They need that Saquon Barkley. So maybe next year, they'd compete well, but for the rest of the season, it's going to be tough. Yes, the defense is great. I think when you get close like this, that's when coaching comes into play. Doug Peterson is by far a better coach than Jason Garrett. Take it from a Cowboys fan that we've had Jason Garrett. He's not terrible.
Coach.
The offensive coordinator, though.
Well, I mean, in terms of the offensive coordinator, I mean, when I'm saying the Giants, I mean the offense. I'm talking about the offense. The defense is good. In terms of the offense, they can't do what needs to be done to win this the rest of the season. Jason Garrett is not that good of a coach to pull that off. Doug Peterson, on the other hand, he can make up for Carson Wentz's mistakes because Carson Wentz will make some mistakes, and honestly, they may even lose, this weekend. But still, at the end of the day, this division is the Eagles to lose, and I don't think Doug Peterson's going to sit down and let the Giants come back and win this division. I think in the long run, all the teams, the rest of the teams, the NFC East, are going to get out coached by Doug Peterson at the end of the day because there's no player in the division that can really separate themselves. There's no superstar in this division right now. So what do you look at? You look at the coaches, and Doug Peterson's the best coach in the division by far.
All I have to say is I hope that if you're a fantasy football owner and you have Travis Fulgham on your fantasy team, I was trying to tell you guys last time not to start him against the Giants, and please don't start him this week. He goes up against James Bradbury, and it's just not going to be a good week for Fulgham. So please sit him. Do your fantasy team a favor. All these other analysts out there saying, "Oh, put Fulgham in this week." Don't put him in. Trust me, he's not going to get 10 points.
I we got it's a hot take. I don't know if I agree with it. I feel like we have to say it because we all do this podcast so that we can have a written record of our opinions. I've said this before. We shouldn't underestimate the Washington football team because I think their defense might be better when healthy than the Giants.
No.
But
Oh
yeah,
my gosh, what the
You're
heck?
giving
when
him
healthy,
too much credit.
no, but give him Alex Smith now. Alex Smith is overlooked. I think he's
he's not
underrated.
bad.
No,
Like,
he
that's
can't
why I want to
move
mention
around
him.
anymore.
But-
Daniel Jones is better than Smith right now.
Yeah.
Smith
Well,
had
we haven't
3
seen- we haven't-
interceptions and no
we- yeah,
touchdowns.
We haven't seen enough of Smith, but I don't want to I don't want to underestimate your opponent. They're in the division. They're technically second in the division, I believe. Basically, because if you take in the division wins, yeah, they're second. So sitting at 2-6. So
You're just
anything's possible in the NFC
hating.
East.
You're just hating on the Giants. Wow. Can't wait
No.
until we win this week.
Oh, now you're on it.
No, then we'll be 1-1. I don't have any ill will towards the Giants. I mean, you know, just because the Cowboys aren't good, it's not worth. No, I don't need to. All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Just been hammering on the Cowboys.
Sorry.
All right, we're gonna go out of the division and go to the AFC East with none other than the Jets. The 0-8, 0-9 Jets. Regardless, they have 0 wins.
About to be 0-17.
Yeah, probably go 0-17. My statement to the crew here: the Jets will trade Sam Darnold and draft Trevor Lawrence. Go in either order. Draft Trevor Lawrence and trade Sam Darnold. But either way, they get rid of Sam Darnold and get Trevor Lawrence. John, true or false?
False.
Okay. I'm gonna say false.
I'll say false.
I'm gonna say false.
False for me too.
I'm gonna say false.
I mean, I think we all agree, but I think for different reasons. My reason
Yeah.
is that I think they're going to draft Lawrence, and I think he's going to refuse to play there.
That's actually mine. I just don't see him going from the south, you know, warm the sorry Jets. I don't think Lawrence wants to be there, and that matters. That's the same reason.
Dude, but
What's the-
imagine
yeah.
I think the team that drafts Lawrence, whether it's the Jaguars, whether it's the Cowboys, they should draft Lawrence and then second round get ETN because they've been tandem. They're the same age. They came into Clemson as freshmen, started, you know, since the beginning, been together. And if you could do that, you could have a pretty dynamic duo. Remember, we saw Dak and Zeke, although they didn't go to the same school. They were pretty dynamic in their first year. So I think that would be a great opportunity for a team, especially like the Jaguars, who don't even have a running back right now either.
If the Jets did that, maybe that's if they forced Lawrence
can't
and somehow got Etienne, you know, like then maybe it's not so bad. You got a friend there.
He can't say yes if he gets drafted by the Jets. You can't go and get coached by Adam Gase, like after what you've seen him do with everybody else. Like, please don't say yes to that.
Well, I think that's the problem is not only, you know, there's a stigma with the Jets that isn't fair because they just haven't been good in so long. But it's like what I mentioned with the Bengals. With the Jets, you don't know if the infrastructure is there to develop a quarterback because I don't think Sam Darnold is that bad. I just don't know if he's been developed correctly. So you put Lawrence in there, no matter how good you are, if you don't surround him with talent administratively with coaching, then yeah, I agree. But it's like, you know, in class, when you're in a bad class, you have a friend that you hang out with, like maybe those could be the two guys, you know, little hanging out in New York.
But if the teacher's bad, you can't learn anything.
It's not right. So they'll dip soon. Who knows?
This is like granted that they fire Adam Gase. Like if he's there
Okay.
at the end of the season, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
This is
he's
his second.
like, is the news out that he's fired? Like, I don't understand I don't know
I don't
how
know.
he's still the coach. I really don't.
He must be
don't-
doing something for the owner. I don't know what he's doing on the side, but he's mowing his lawn or something.
What a gig to like suck so bad and still get your job, like still have your job.
There was like a quote. I think it was the Browns coach from years ago where like they went 0-16.
Hugh
Like,
Jackson.
not many people could coach this team like I have. I don't. I feel like there was like a Twitter meme where it's like I feel like I could coach a team and go 0-16. The disrespect. I know he meant he did more and no, but you're right. I mean, Gase is only in his second season, so it's like it's kind of early to cut bait. But it's kind of like with Mike McCarthy. It's Mike McCarthy at least proven himself, but. I mean, I don't know. You see the Jets just cutting loose all the talented players to get picks. They're going to be rebuilding for a while. So maybe that's a team you want Lawrence on, but they probably should be doing better when they had, Adams and Bell for a while and Darnold. Like they could have, that might be a coaching issue there.
Yeah, it's just not fair. I think Sam Darnold, he's a really great quarterback, and just the team's just atrocious. And I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, he just has to be there and continue to build the team. I don't think getting another quarterback is going to solve the Jets' problems at all. Trevor Lawrence is going to come in; he's going to face the same issues. Even though he does run more than Darnold, that could add some spark to the offense a little. But still, at the end of the day, you got to change the coaches. You got to, continue to get more weapons around the quarterback, and that's how great teams build. But Sam Darnold is a great quarterback. He just needs to be in a good situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, on TikTok, I did a Madden franchise where like the fans are the like GM and the owner, and they can like make trades and stuff. And the two teams that were at the top were the Jets and the Giants. So for like a week, I was like, okay, like what am I going to do with the Giants? What am I going to do with the Jets? So I thought about the Jets. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, like we're going to tank this first year, get Trevor Lawrence, trade Darnold for some players, and, restart that offense again. But thinking about it more, I think there's three things they need to do, and it's fire Adam Gase ASAP. ASAP Rocky so fast, like get him out so that he stops infecting people and making them terrible players.
He's not COVID. Like
I was gonna say,
dude, he's freaking
interesting choice
bad. So, dude, the way he's handled Sam Darnold's skill and talent, it should be a crime. Once you fire Adam Gase, then you start to pick up talent around Sam Darnold. And we've seen what that does to quarterbacks. And you look at Josh Allen, and they just got Stephon Diggs. And Caleb said the stat, what was it? Diggs has the most fantasy points.
Yes.
Utilizing them well. They went and got Cole Beasley, great third down receiver.
Mm-hmm.
They have John Brown, a speedster. Josh Allen may not be the best quarterback, but he was having an MVP season this year before a couple games, and it could be attributed to the receiver. So you fire Adam Gase, you get some talent around Sam Darnold, and then make your assessment on if Sam Darnold is bad or not, or if he's the franchise quarterback. I think by now they know. And then 3 is fire Adam Gase. Get him out of New York.
Again? You already
He has a
fired him.
family.
Emphasize enough. Like
he has a family.
So step
fired.
1 is to fire him, and then step 3 is to make sure he moves out of New York State.
Oh.
Make sure he is as far away from the facilities as he possibly can.
You telling people
Training order.
you're telling Jets to like social distance from him?
Order for the freaking crime that he's done to Sam, his talent.
You need to go to all your players and personnel, hack their phones, and delete them from their contacts.
Like part of the contract. No, that's messed up. I think. Do you know what's interesting parallel though? If you think about it,
0-9. That's ridiculous.
Well, we mentioned this, but the Browns, right? They were 0-16. They ended up firing. You said his name, Kitchens, right?
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson, my bad.
Kitchen.
No. No. But if you think about it, the Browns are like, if anything, on the upside. Like they're doing better now.
Right. They
But
tried to hold on to Jackson and it didn't work in the Browns.
Well, that's the thing is like if you think about it, a lot of the players that was acquired under Jackson are still there, like part of the winning team now. But it's like with the Jets, what I could see happening is they play out this season, get picks, and if with all the picks they've accumulated with trades and with a high draft pick, they don't do well next year with Adam Gase. After 1 year, they cut bait. I mean, that's the conservative route I see. If they do just as bad, is what I'm saying. Because my point is with the Browns, they fired their head coach after going 0-16, and then they started to rebuild with some of the things that head coach had acquired. So you might see that. It's like when a head coach, like, what do you say to your 0-9 team to motivate them? And then next season, like, say the same things. Like, it's just players lose confidence in you.
Yeah.
So it's a tough situation because you might see that because of this year, it builds the Jets up. So I was like, it's hard to justify when you're 0-9, but I never feel good about it.
Get him out of New York. We're going to move on to the games of the week and then wrap up this episode of the podcast. First one, talked about this a lot. Eagles versus Giants. It's a battle for the division, believe it or not, folks. Eagles versus Giants. John, make me happy here. Pick the Giants, please.
So the team that's going to win this game is the Eagles. And I'm a Giants fan, but I need to be right. The fans know I'm right almost every time, so I need to keep my streak alive, and the Eagles will win this game, and it's the sole reason that they had a bye last week. And, they're getting players back. They get Goddard back, who they had back last week, but now he gets a full week of practice in. They get to integrate him back into the offense. Rager, get him back into the offense. Miles Sanders, he's practicing. So I think this Eagles team is going to win this game, and it's not going to be as close as the last time they played where the Eagles had to make a push at the end.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win this. The only reason being they had a bye week, so they had some extra time to rest, and extra time to rest and game plan for the Giants. I think this game's going to be close, though. The Giants are trying to battle to win the division, but ultimately the Eagles are getting Miles Sanders back. If he's healthy, then I think the offense is going to score some pretty good points. So I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be a close game, and the Eagles will end up being the winner.
I'd say Eagles. I know. Imagine if I said the Giants after my last spiel. This is the most inconsequential. Like what? No, but I think the Eagles. All right, I know I've taken like playful cheap shots at the Giants. They do have a really good defense. The way I can see the Eagles, I think if you look at our limit, who was limited or did not participate, I think it's Johnson, Peters, and I think Herbig at least. So Wentz is going to probably be under pressure because they have a good defense. That's the way I see the Eagles possibly being put back on their toes, is that defensive line breaking through. Because no matter how good of a quarterback he is, like you see the formula to beat Brady, it's getting pressure on him every play. So no matter how good you are, if that's happening to Wentz, that's how I see it. But I'm still, for all the reasons you guys said, coming off the bye, Wentz has been healthy and getting the cavalry back, some backup, as well as the game prep. They won the first time. I'm giving it to the Eagles. Jared?
Eagles. No, just kidding. It's going to be the Giants. You imagine. So
you just flip-flop.
I don't know if you guys heard me the first time, so I just reiterate what I said before. So
Please.
the Giants are second in creating turnovers. And if you look at the Eagles, their turnover differential is second to last with -7. -7. It's going to be a turnover battle. Whoever wins the turnover game is going to win this game. And it's going to be the Giants. For the simple fact that just the stats don't add up for Philadelphia turnover-wise. -7 for them. The Giants are 0. They turn the ball over just as much as they take the ball away. It's that simple. I mean, I would tell Daniel Jones, try your absolute hardest to not throw an interception, and you'll probably win this game. Like, it's that simple. You don't need to score a lot on this Eagles team. You really don't. So please, Daniel Jones, keep that turnover low, and they'll win this game. It's as simple as that. It's black and white. Our next one, if I can find it. Oh, dang, I forgot to pick this one. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Buffalo Bills. We talked a lot about the Bills on this podcast. I'll start this one off because we all know
It's the Bills.
week after week, time and time again, before the week started, I'm rocking with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. We had a down game, but you know what? The Dolphins are hot. They're the team to beat. So I'm gonna let it slide because they were the hot team. I'm taking the Cardinals versus the Bills because Kyler Murray versus Josh Allen. Kyler Murray is going to win this one. Josh Allen's not going to play his best. I hope Jonathan says this, but Allen wasted his really good game for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks because he's not going to play well in this game. He just won't.
Why?
He just won't. I'm going to predict.
What's the reasoning then?
What's the
Your
reason?
gut
He's
feeling?
not consistent.
Oh.
He's not consistent enough. So if you had a really good game last week, you're inconsistent, you're mostly going to have a bad game this week. And Kyler Murray has just been straight consistent, most points, most fantasy points for a quarterback. So I'm going to take the Cardinals on this one. And hopefully Jonathan's with me and I'm not alone on this, like the last pick.
Are you, Jonathan?
Yes, Cardinals are going to win this game. The Bills aren't going to be able to stop Kyler Murray. Josh Allen, he's going to choke. You know, every few games he chokes.
Dude.
Every few games he chokes. He decides to back out. He's scared of the big spotlight. That's why they're not going to go far, by the way. And so, you know, it's going to be a good game, but, you know, something's going to happen where Josh Allen chokes. He's going to throw an interception and turn it over. Cardinals are going to end up with a W, and Kyler Murray is going to put up some crazy numbers.
I can't wait until there's going to be 1 week at some point, maybe not this season, but maybe next year, that we have the Bills and some other team, and you pick the Bills to win. It will happen once. But
wait, hang on. I just saw this an hour ago, so this is something to be looked at. Is Buda Baker was held out from practice today.
Ooh. Why?
Doesn't really say. It just says among the injury report, Buda Baker was among one that didn't play. It's a groin injury, but that doesn't mean he's out for the game. But just,
do you want to switch your
that
answer?
would be a huge loss if Buda Baker didn't play because he's been playing phenomenal this year. And if he's not playing, that
you switch your answer?
Doesn't run right. They can't do the play they want to run. But keep an eye on that.
That's good. You guys have an excuse now, just in case, you know, you guys could just say, oh, Buda Baker wasn't there.
Well, I was going to say Buda Baker's going to have his best game of the season.
Oh my God.
But then I looked it up and because I did see he went down. So I was like, is he playing? And they don't know yet, but
okay.
Yeah. I think if he's healthy, he's going to have the best game of his season. I really do.
Let me.
You want to go or
no? You go ahead. I'll finish.
Yeah, because I feel like I know what you're gonna say, so I'll be like the appetizer before the entree. Okay. Because I'm going with the Bills on this one.
No.
All right. I think the Bills. I've said this before. I think the Bills are legit. It'll be an interesting matchup. Let me show you guys some rankings here. Number one quarterback in terms of fantasy points. This is significant. It's Kyler. Number two is Josh Allen. Now, interestingly enough, however, number one receiver is Stephon Diggs. We brought it up multiple times. DeAndre Hopkins is number 6. So that fantasy number is probably inflated by Kyler's running a little more, but it shows that passer for passer, Allen might be the better quarterback in terms of, I would definitely say that Kyler runs better, right? But I think the Bills win it. I just think they're more consistent. I'll let John give the better argument, but I just wanted to mention that it'll be interesting in terms of the two top fantasy quarterbacks playing each other to see how they do. But I think the Bills are more well-rounded, more experienced. They've been good for a while, so I think this is just their year if they're healthy to finally punch their card to the playoffs and do well.
Yeah, so the Bills are going to win this game. They're going to go to Arizona, and they're going to beat the Cardinals. But this is definitely the game of the week to watch. If you're a fantasy fan, just anybody you have in this matchup, throw them in because it's going to be, a crazy high-scoring game. Both teams are going to get over 30 points. But you guys want to talk about inconsistency with Josh Allen and the Bills? Kyler lost to the Lions, put up 23 points on the Lions. The Lions get destroyed by teams. The Vikings just beat them, and the Vikings are like 2-7 or something.
But that's one bad game.
No, he had 21 points on the Panthers. Everybody puts points on the Panthers. The freaking Chiefs just put like 30 on them. I mean, you only put 21 and you lost 31-21. So
the Bills barely beat the Jets. The Jets are 0-9 now.
What?
That's kind of embarrassing.
What was the score of the Bills and Jets game?
It was like 18-10.
Oh my gosh. You guys, all right, so Kyler beat the Seahawks by a field goal. The Bills beat them by 10 points. Bills are better. So, I mean, talk about inconsistency. You want to talk about matchups and who played better against who? The Bills are going to win this game. They're going to go to Arizona and they're going to show them up. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but Kyler's a little too cocky right now with his legs, and I think the Bills defense is sick of seeing him run in circles.
The thing is, once you figure out a running quarterback, there's ways to prevent it. They're still good, but once they figure it out, it's
Kyler
tough.
against the Panthers had 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That wasn't his fault.
Oh, yeah.
Bills had a better defense, though.
That's not inconsistent. That's not inconsistent at all. He had 1 bad game, 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions against Detroit. He has not had more than 2 interceptions this whole season.
And neither has Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been a much better passer. Wait, Caleb, you have the fantasy points up? Look at the yards. I think Allen has more yards.
Oh, yeah. Passing? Yeah, for sure.
And he has more. What's the touchdown to interception ratio for both?
Bro, oh my God. Josh Allen had 0 touchdowns against the Jets and the Patriots.
Those are division games. You know those division games, everybody plays close. I want to see him if he plays
the Jets.
They won both those games, though.
Dude,
the Bills won both those games.
The Jets gave Cam Newton problems because it's division games. It's always those division.
Dude, we're talking just Josh Allen versus Kyler, right? If we're talking just that, wins, losses, he had 0 touchdowns. And then in the New England game, he had 154 yards passing and an interception.
Caleb, what's the touchdown to interception ratio for both?
Okay,
that's not fair.
Why is that not fair?
That's not fair because he runs it. Kyler runs it a lot more. You gotta factor in the running ability.
Oh my!
Right, Kyler has 8 touchdowns running. Give him that.
Okay, wait. So let's. How about this? We'll take the passing touchdowns and add the rushing touchdowns.
Actually, okay. I'll go through the. Okay, Kyler Murray has 8 touchdowns rushing. Okay. Josh Allen has 5.
Exactly. It's not
Kyler
that big.
Murray has 16 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Josh Allen has 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions.
24. Oh, it's almost
actually
even. One's 24-7 and one's 24-5.
Whoa!
Right.
Wait, what?
So that's actually kind of. I didn't even know that.
Allen has the edge. A little bit.
Allen has 2 less interceptions. Y'all can fact check me. I do on fantasypros.com.
I have some important stats. Like I told you, the most important thing is the QBR.
Oh no!
No, Josh Allen's QBR against the Jets was 90.
No.
His QBR against
Dude,
the
overall.
Patriots
Overall
was
QBR.
65.
Overall,
say it louder, Jonathan.
overall. We're not
Stop.
taking
Stop this.
we're not taking worst games here. I want overall average. Then let's compare.
I think we'll
Well,
see it.
Allen's QBR should be better because Kyler doesn't throw it as often.
No, they take into
Kyler's is
everything
better.
into account.
Kyler's
No,
is
okay.
better, but it's tough to.
I
Wait,
don't
let's
know
see.
actually. ESPN.com NFL QBR 2020 season leaders, sitting at sixth place with 79.3 QBR. Josh Allen.
Right.
Kyler Murray has 77. That's a 2-point difference in QBR.
Dude, they're actually really close. They're closer
It
than
It actually kind of is. Like
I
jokes
thought.
aside, that's yeah, it's
I'll
Wait,
put
interesting.
this.
so
I'll put this in
Kyler-
a poll on TikTok.
Wait, so is Kyler ahead or behind? Wait, who's
He's
He's
behind
by
by
2
in
points.
QBR for season. He's behind by 2 points. That's like
it is
I don't know. I mean, yeah,
it is
does.
really close, I'll admit. Kyler's been really good. Allen's been really good.
They're both really good though. Like they're
But-
both
Yeah.
above. They're
It's
both
gonna
above
be-
Brady, above
Nonetheless,
Jackson.
it's
I
gonna
don't think
be
you can put them in the same conversation.
what?
Honestly, you can't. It's Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson, and Patrick Mahomes.
What?
You can't
Kyler's
put
not-
Josh Allen in there.
Josh Allen
Kyler's
is
not on
earning his
that
way
level.
He's
up, man.
average.
Dude, if
Exactly.
you
It shows
better than Josh
Kyler's
Allen.
good. It shows really good for Kyler because he's younger. You know, I don't know if he's younger.
Yeah.
Is he younger? Well, it shows
No.
that Kyler's
Well,
playing really
yeah.
well because Allen's playing really well.
We'll let TikTok decide.
Right.
Pull up
Took a
maybe
deep dive in the
tonight or
analytics.
tomorrow. I'll put it up and we'll see who the fans think, because I think what I'll do is I'll put a poll and then I'll put like their stats, and actually compare, because it's a lot closer than people think. But we got to wrap this podcast up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Caleb, what episode are we at? I forget every time. It's got to be 26, I think.
Yes. Very good.
26. Episode 26. We're rolling. We have not missed a single week. Round of applause for not missing a single
Good job, boys.
upload. Thursday at 10 a.m. Set a reminder. Freaking put it in your calendar. Put it in your schedule. 10 a.m. on Thursday every single week. If you made it this far, and I know somebody did because they put Saint Nick in the last one,
Oh,
we'll put
a hero.
a little Easter egg in this one. How about pick between Kyler and Allen? Just say Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, one of the two. If you did, then we know that you made it this far, and we appreciate you, and we should freaking send you freaking money or something. I don't know. Oh, we
Not a
might be coming
promise.
out with stickers. We might be coming out with stickers. I gotta tell you
Our
guys,
merch drop, boys.
merch drop coming soon at 10K.
Put the
Get us
sticker on
to
your
10K
shirt.
followers. All right, that's it. That's the end of the podcast. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and hopefully your team wins this week on Sunday, or if your team plays on Monday or Thursday, one of the three. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.